Good evening and welcome back to the Adults Table. I'm Ryan, a former fundee.
And I'm Rabbi Mike. I'm your tour guide through the textured terrain of the biblical landscape.
That is right. And each episode, we equip you with more insights to aid you to a better understanding of the Bible and other ancient literature.
So last week, we made a little pit stop, right? In the realm of the afterlife of spirits, ghosts, and even zombies, since it was Halloween. But now we are back on track.
That's right. But I did kind of keep it in the theme of the underworld because tonight I have a gigantic story about one of the Rephaim,
Right on. So
pun
let's grab a
intended.
chair. Let's do it. We'll be right back.
All right, let's go.
The Adults Table. Theological conversations uncensored.
Hey, hey,
Hello,
hey.
hello.
How you doing tonight?
We are ready to roll. I'm very excited for what you have to say, what you have to teach us. I got my text pulled up to give some comments, but you are leading this show, so let's hear it. Let's do it.
Are you saying that you're ready to go down under?
I'm
Because
ready.
we're kind of gonna go down under. Yeah, I
I'm
know,
ready.
guys. Just be nice to me. Well, hello everyone in the audience. I think you're going to enjoy tonight's show. I've had a lot of people recently. There seems to be this resurgence of wanting to understand who these Nephilim, who the Rephaim, who are these ancient semi-divine creatures that supposedly once roamed the earth. So I thought we would go through what I found to be one of the, I don't know, it's interesting for so many reasons, and I think you're gonna feel the same, Rabbi Mike, um, called The Tale of Aquat. And I also think that we're going to see some similarities just with motifs or maybe themes, and maybe you can help me hone in on which
Hmm.
that is with some other like texts from Mesopotamia. So yeah, we're gonna throw it all into the mixing pot tonight. So I think it's probably time that I put it on the table. What you think?
Put it on the table.
Put on. Ooh, so pretty. I found this in one of the books. Oh, shoot. That's right. I have to put all the books that I use in the description. I promise y'all I will do that. I have them written down, but I found this in one of the books and I thought it was a really interesting map. And of course, I love to show like where Canaan was. And also tonight, this epic will be surrounding this area known as the Sea of Galilee. In the text, it's known as Lake Kinneret. Why, how, couldn't tell you, but that is what it is called in some of these Ugaritic texts. So it's pretty cool that it's even around, the area of where some of the Bible was written or the stories about, that were in the Bible were written. So let's move along. And I asked
To
Rabbi
let you
Mike
know,
if
by
he
the way,
wouldn't. Oh, yes,
sorry.
sure.
The Sea of Galilee is called Kinneret because Kinneret was listed among one of the cities in Joshua. And so up there, the Kinneret is another word for the Sea of Galilee. So that's why.
Well, thank you. There's so many things to uncover, to learn, and even I, with all the questions I have, cannot get to everything. So that's awesome that you were able just to pull that out of
No,
the air. Thank you
no
so
worries.
much. That's like so
Sorry.
super cool to
Sorry to
me.
interrupt. Go ahead.
So, no, not at all. So anyway, I just wanted to tell everyone in the audience that I had told you behind the scenes, you probably know the layout of how the ancient Israelites or how the ancient Hebrews saw the earth or the universe. So if you want to maybe explain this little illustration for our audience, since we're going to be talking about the underworld tonight.
So this is a very Genesis-y outline here.
Genesis-y.
And
I
it does
like
represent,
that.
yes, very Genesis-y. It does outline certain aspects um, of certain Genesis authors in terms of their understanding of the Mayim and Shemayim, the waters of the earth and the waters above, which are the Shemayim, the heavens. I also like how the how it has this sort of border over it, which is very reminiscent of the priestly understanding um, that inside this firmament in earth is where order is, that God has created order according to the Genesis author. And
Mm.
outside is very much like chaos and that sort of stuff. So the Israelites try to keep order inside. Um, the earth, as you can see, is very what's the Pangea a little bit with here's a big chunk of earth
Right.
and and then there's some oceans, and then you have underneath, which is this sort of mystery place called Sheol, which, depending on which Jewish text you're looking at, can either be metaphorical, it can be a real place, it can be where all dead go, it can be where some dead go. It is something that it could be underneath, it could be somewhere else. But in this case, they've said that it's underneath, and they've got that nice pink skull there to indicate it has something
I
to do
put
with
that there
death.
for you.
Yes, it has something to do with death.
I had to put my
Um,
touch on it. Sorry.
I love it. I love it. And then, we cannot ignore, which I'm sure you're going to go into, the idea that the ancient Near East had these ideas of under places and underworlds and overworlds and realms outside that they couldn't see, and those sort of things. So this is actually a very cool, I'd say Genesis 1-ish outline here. Um,
And from what I can glean from the Ugaritic texts, and again, it's hard to say how much they were in practice. Were they just good stories? Were these rituals um, still continued at this time? Who's to say? But from what I can tell, it seems like they thought of the same kind of tiered layers to the earth, and that maybe even some kind of river Styx idea with also the waters that maybe have to travel to get through to get to where the and I don't know if it's because the Rephaim might be in a special place in Sheol, like maybe differentiated from the rest of Sheol, where they're still living and waiting for the next guy to come. Not super sure. Um, Sadly, because some of these, again, texts are just barely damaged or some lost. One of these texts for the story tonight is completely gone. So there will be some damaged bits tonight where we'll just have to skip some parts. Anyway, neither here nor there. If you at your reading leisure would like to look up the scriptures that just mention the shades or the Rephaim, this idea of people chilling in the afterlife, doing what? I don't know. But sometimes they don't sound like they're having a good life. In some of these scriptures, it sounds like they did dust and stuff. So, little different from the Ugaritic version. That's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Adapt it, baby.
right.
Adapt it. So let's move on quickly to just go over who the Rephaim again in Ugarit or Egypt in the ancient Near East compared to who they became eventually through the authors of the Bible. So disembodied kings, warriors, heroes, a good judge, somebody who did something heroic that they would be remembered and could even come back to confer messages to our world about fertility, things of that nature, continuing your lineage, blessings of El. Where are they found? They're found on tablets and tombs. Last time that I talked about the Rephaim, I showed you one tomb, but there's, I think, several now that have been unearthed where the Rephaim mentioned that would protect the tomb, and anybody who disturbed it would not have a place in the afterlife with the Rephaim. We may see them as called the shades sometimes in the scripture. It just depends. I think, Rabbi Mike, you even said they were called something else, something about spirits.
So yes, JPS will translate it in the English as shades with a capital S, but departed spirits is more what the root of Resh Pei Aleph would mean in terms of the masculine plural noun here. So it is a group of a certain group of people. I don't think shades works very well. I don't think people know what that means in English. I don't know even if I understand it, but departed spirits or some sort of otherworldly group of people is what the Rephaim would best be, in a more common understanding, would be through the lens of the Jewish text, which has its own spin through, so I trust
Right.
Ugaritic stuff for what they really were.
Yeah, because it's going to be a bit different. Anyway, we know this. So who
Mhm.
are we going to see tonight? I thought a quick little refresher here would also be good. El, we know him. We know Big Daddy, Big Sky Daddy
Yep.
El. Ba Hadad will appear. Anat, who is, one of my favorites. Kothar Wahasis, who is a skillful and wise craftsman, is going to be back to his regular old fashioning weapons. Yurik, the moon god, and the Kothrat, who are the midwives who come down from the heavens. They are called swallow-like birds at times, and they are able to help you to become fertile, even to have the baby, take whatever kind of medicines you might need for all of that, etc. Actually, now I'm going to move over to the book. We'll come back to this at the end. Will we? Should we? Or
I don't
should we
know.
do
We'll
that
see.
now? Yes. How about for
Your
now?
show.
It's my show. We're going to get this show on the road. So I am going to move on to this tab, share this tab instead. Okay. And this is the story of Aquat. You can get this yourself and on archive. I'm going to scroll a little bit till we get down to the actual poem. That's all just like the description, which is really great if you want to read it for yourself, because it kind of fills you in on what's going to be happening. But I'm going to do that for you because I'm
Heck
your guide
yeah.
tonight. I'm going to be the one. All right. There's a lot of repetition here as per Yesh. We've seen that before, lots of repetition. And that's significant. One for memory. Sometimes, you start off by, okay, this is what we do. And then you close it by, okay, this is what we do. It's, way opening ceremony, closing ceremony. If you practice any kind of craft or some kind of religious system, you probably know that. Same thing here. So, Rabbi Mike, the question here is, my friend, who wants to do the reading? You want me to do the reading, or you want to do the reading? Which you think?
Well, let me see here.
It's an interesting read.
Okay, well we've got broken tablets here, so
Yes, broken
all right.
tablet.
I can read a little bit over on the right.
Yes. Don't read the other part. That might
Okay.
That might be a little
because
confusing.
Ugaritic transliterated with no vowels on the left is a little bit tough. But I can do
Come
the
on.
right. I know. Failed
Okay.
myself. Okay.
I'll
Um,
give you a pass.
so this is first tablet, column 1. And remind us, this is what's the dating of this? Do we have a date for this sort of stuff?
Yes. So this would be going back to sometime around 1400 BCE, 1500 BCE. And of course, this could be just the time that it was written down, just like some of the texts in the Bible. Could be very much older, going back to 3000 BCE stories. Unsure, but there is
Right
that
on.
possibility. So yeah,
They're
these are
old.
pretty old. They're pretty old stories. Yep.
They're old. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And I see we're going to recognize some peeps in here. This is awesome. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
now Daniel, man of Rapiu, the hero, the man of Harnemite, girded gives foods to the gods, girded gives drink to the deities, throws down his garment and lies, throws down his cloak for the night. One day passed, and a second. Girded, he's super girded. Girded,
He's
Daniel gives
very
food.
good.
Girded gives food to the gods. Girded gives drinks to the deities.
Gird it,
Oh my
baby.
God, he's girded all over the place. A third day
We could
passes.
probably
A fourth.
skip down a little bit if you want.
Okay,
We go down to the seventh day, and then we're gonna
seventh
stop.
day.
We're gonna stop a couple down.
Seventh day. Baal draws near in compassion. The longing of Daniel, man of Rapiu, the moan of the hero, man of the Harnemite, who has no son like his siblings, no offspring like that of his fellows. Will he have no son like his siblings, no offspring like that of his fellows? Very poetic, very repetition in terms of that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff. Who
Yes.
girded gives food to the gods, girded gives drinks to the deities. Bless him, Bull, El, my father, prosper him, creator of creatures. I am the bull there. Which of the
Mm-hmm.
gods has the bull form? Is that Baal? Um,
Um. Well, I think Baal is sometimes referred to as bull. Also,
yeah,
I guess they just all were fucking
yeah,
bullheaded. They were all
yeah.
powerful. I guess that shows their prowess. I'm guessing their royalty, their prowess. Um, but yeah, that imagery is pretty prominent in the area, and it's interesting that they all share that. Okay, so what we see, the text is broken at first, unfortunately. So it starts off with Daniel in the temple, and he is giving offerings 7 days in a row, consecutive days um to, I don't know if it's specify, if we know for sure, but I would assume to L. And
hmm
eventually Baal feels pity on Daniel because he's making these offerings. Nobody is saying anything on his behalf. And he's been a good dude. He gives offerings, he does all the things he's supposed to do. So like, L, hey, can you help this guy out? So let's see what old daddy Sky Daddy says.
And
Oh well,
Baal
sorry,
is
ball keeps
yeah.
going.
No, that's okay. And Baal, as I recall from the like Uritic God chart, Baal is supposed to be the brother of Yahweh, that's another son of El. Is that their relationship?
Yes. So if Yahweh is another Canaanite deity, then
Right.
likely they would be brothers. And I, yeah, that's really all I can say. And this would be Baal Hadad, more than likely. Usually, when they
Right.
just have Baal, it's actually, let me look and see real quick. Baal, Baal, yeah, it's just Baal. So
Okay.
it's
Cool.
really interesting that it doesn't say Hadad, but
Yeah.
we know that it's him because it's not El, because he's talking to El like, hey, help him out.
Right. Right. Right.
Sorry, y'all.
Nah, it's cool. All right. Let him have a son in his house, offspring within his palace. to set up his ancestor's stela, the sign of his sib in the sanctuary, to rescue his smoke from the underworld, to protect his steps from the dust, to stop his abuser's spite, to drive his troublers away, to grasp his arm when he's drunk, to support him when sated with wine, to eat his portion in Baal's house, his share in the house of El. Very cool. I love
Mm-hmm.
reading like Ugaritic poetry that just says it's just like our characters that we've taken over into Israelite, and they're just like just hanging out. It's
Yeah.
just just very cool. They've got their own stories and their own stuff, and then we lost so much of it in the translation
Yeah,
over
that's
to
this. Yeah,
you know,
that's the stuff
in terms of that.
I wish we'd know. I wish we could know.
Yeah, the transition. Yeah. To dab his roof when there's mud, to wash his stuff when there's dirt.
So let's see. Is there anything here that I thought was interesting to talk about? Not really, but we see the mention of like the stela. So we've talked about the tombs, like, the resting place. You don't want to be
Right.
disturbed, like put me in the ground and like don't mess with me after that. Oh, here we go. So finally we are at L, and we're going to notice this is what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Is there a cup? You're going to be like, biatch. No, is there a cup motif of sorts? Do you know, in ancient literature? Is there any
Um,
symbology there that you can think of?
um, I mean, here's what I'll say. I mean, a cup is something that is typically kingly, like regal.
That makes
Um,
sense.
there's
Right.
there's bits about there's metaphorical cups within Israelite poetry and Tanakh. Um, I mean you know there's Pharaoh's cups. There's but then you get into sort of prophetic books, and it's like the cup of his wrath,
Right.
cup of
That's right.
reeling. Ezekiel says Babylon was the golden cup in the Lord's hand. So I'm not sure if there's a motif, so to
Motif per
say, but
se. Yeah.
there is a symbol, a charged symbol of power and being and regal aspects to a cup, to a it's not just a regular cup. It's like a goblet that
Right.
can sort of represent power, right? A cup in one hand, God's cup or Pharaoh's cup or a king's cup. So when it says El takes a cup in his hand, um, it's supposed to, I
Probably
think,
means.
enhance El's height of
Mm,
something. So yeah, I would say there's definitely a connection there through the use of the symbol of the cup. Um, I'd say that's a fair assumption.
well, it's going to come up again, and
Okay.
I think it probably is. I think that you're probably hitting it on the nose there. Was that all I wanted to say there? Yes. So why don't we continue on? Yes, please.
He blesses Daniel, man of Rapiu, prospers the hero, man of the Harnemite. By my life, let Daniel, man of Rapiu, thrive. By my soul, the hero, man of the Harnemite. Oh, so it's a blessing.
Mm,
Wow, cool. Flourish, let him mount his gown. So El is blessing Daniel with a
right.
cup. Oh, cool symbolism there. Yeah, it's like but he says by my life. So it's like a vow, really. So it's a powerful thing.
Ooh,
It's like a vow and a blessing from a very powerful, like kingly dude.
right.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
by the way, Harnemite, not sure exactly. I think that's just simply a location. I was trying to figure that out.
I'd never heard the term, so
Yeah, somebody said something. It could be like Harmel, I can't remember. A lot to still be discovered. Anyhow, so yeah, unfortunately, some little breaking off of the text here, but okay. Yes, so he gets blessed. Daniel gets blessed by El. And what does he do as soon as he is blessed? He's going in for the kill, man. He's like kissing his
yeah,
wife, hugging her. And it's
yeah,
that
do it.
same phrase of like in kissing conception that we saw with El and Asherah in the Shahar and Shalim epic. And did we see that somewhere else? But anyway, it seems to be pretty common. You kiss, of course you're going to get pregnant. That's how it works. Don't you guys know? It's science.
Right, obviously.
Obviously. Okay, so do you want to continue reading? Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
In kissing his wife, conception, and embracing her pregnancy, birth, pregnancy, man of Rapiu, and a son he will have in his house, offspring within his palace, to set up his ancestors' stela, the sign of his sib, in the sanctuary. Did we get to define sib? What that could have meant?
I did read
I've
across,
never
and
heard
do I
that.
remember? Do I remember? No, but I do believe that it is just some kind of inscription on the tomb
Cool.
of sorts, but
Cool.
don't
No, that's cool. Yeah.
don't quote me.
No, I won't. I never do. I try not to get people in trouble.
Thank you.
To rescue, oh, this is interesting. To rescue his smoke from the underworld, to protect his steps from the dust, to stop his abuser's spite, to drive his troublers away. And then again, the repeats, to grasp his arm when he's drunk, to support him when sated with wine. But they add that part about the underworld. That's interesting. To eat his portion in Baal's house, his share in the house of El, and to dub his. Okay, so it just repeats to wash his stuff when there's dirt.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
cool.
is there anything here? Let me look. I still have not gotten to the whole smoke of the underworld. I did find a book called The Horned Altar by Tess Dawson, and she's starting to enlighten me on some even more stuff about like the soul, what they call the soul. I'll get to it. It's like Nashpu Nesh. Nope, not even gonna try. I have it written down. So we'll get to that. So I think this has something to do with the idea of some kind of soul. Oh, and I think there is some more. Yes, some more missing lines, unfortunately. Okay, yeah. So it's again just the repetition. Okay, so he's repeating it back to him, saying, "This is what you're going to get." And Daniel's face is like lighting up because he realizes he's now going to be blessed. His wife is pregnant. Hoorah. So it's like it starts out with this blessing. They kiss, they conceive, and then it's like this repetition of that same blessing. It's
Yeah,
interesting. Again, it must be some kind of ritualistic way to do it. Love it. Enjoying it. All right. Would you mind continue reading? Sorry.
I don't mind at all. Let's do this.
Do it.
Daniel's face beams, his brow above lights up. He breaks into laughter, sets his foot on the footstool, raises his voice and cries, "Now I'll sit down and rest. In my breast my heart will rest, like my siblings, a son's to be born me, an offspring like that of my fellows. To set up my ancestors' stela, the sign of my sib, all that stuff to stop my abuser's spite." And then it repeats, right? To grasp my arm when I'm drunk. So
Mhm.
this is like the third time that they're running through this sort of vow, this blessing, to do all these things. It's very cool.
Right. And now finally we're moving on to the next part. We're now finally moving
Yeah.
on a little bit.
Yeah. Daniel comes to his house. Daniel arrives at his palace. The Katharat enters his house. Do you know what that is?
So, okay, so here it says Katharat, I say Kotharat, but these
Okay.
are the midwives that come down. So they are the ones who instruct you how to have a baby, have all the recipes to make all that happen, and to help you with childbirth because you know that ish is painful. So now he's going to entertain the radiant daughters, the moon's radiant daughters, the Kotharat, and they're going to make sure that everything works out with the pregnancy. And so now he's going to celebrate them basically. If you
Hey. All right.
br- of course, like, and this guy, like when Ball said that, like, come on, this guy does everything right. He seems to be doing, from what I can tell, seems to be doing everything right. He's a good dude. Okay,
Right on.
so all right, so go ahead. Start at slaughter. Start at the
Slaughters.
ox.
Slaughters an ox for these awesome midwives, the Kotharat. Dines the Kotharat and wines the moon's radiant daughters. One day and a second, he dines the Kotharat and wines the moon's radiant daughters. Third, okay, I think we get
Yeah,
that there.
third, fourth. So again, another
Right.
7 days he's doing this same type of
Yeah.
repetitious sacrificing.
Right. And then
Okay, so
the joy
basically
of the bed. Yeah, go ahead.
so they leave, but they've taught him the joy of the bed. Like he knows what to do now. He knows how to make it work. He can get them babies a popping.
Right.
Daniel, he's counting the months till the baby comes. Sadly, stuff is missing, but we know that Aquat is born to him. And yes. All right. So now the scene sets where Daniel is doing his job because he's a pious man and he's judging, he's taking care of the peeps. So start on 4 to 5 if you don't mind.
Okay. Give me 1 second. If you could do this one, because I'm going to grab my charger really quick so my computer doesn't die, but then I'll come right back.
No
Hit us up with
problem.
4 to 5. Do it.
Let's hit it up. Okay. So
All
now
right.
Daniel, man of Rapiu, the hero man of the Harnemite, gets up and sits by the gateway among the chiefs on the threshing floor. He takes care of the case of the widow, defends the need of the orphan. Raising his eyes, he sees at 1,000 rods, 10,000 furlongs, observes the coming of Kothar, observes the march of Cassis. So Kothar Wahasis is the skillful and crafty alchemist who can just like manufacture anything. Like he just gets the raw materials and he can just make it happen.
Right.
So he's bringing with him a bow. He brings with him arrows, and he approaches Daniel, and Daniel sees Kothar coming, so he hollers to his wife, "Hey, lady, can you here's another god." So of course, you know what's going to happen because another god is coming, and Daniel's a pious man. He does it all right. So stuff's going to be crack-a-lacking around here. We're going to get some goats.
Right.
We're going to get some whatever it is, and it's going to be sacrificed. So I'm going to
All right.
tonight. Now tonight, my word is just so. So he prepares everything he needs for clever Hayan. Now I'm not sure. I was trying to figure out exactly what Hayan means, but it seems to be something about like life, Haya. So I'm guessing like vivacious, like dude's always just like running and keeping going. So I think it's like some kind of vivacious name for him. Wines and dines,
from
no
Kai,
69s. And none of that here. Let's see. Where can we move to? Where can we okay, how about you start at 21? Donataya is the wife of Danelle, and I think that it's possible that her name might have something to do also with judging, like maybe she's judged good. I don't know, but it has that Don, like he has Don, and yeah, not sure. It would just be speculative. That's just my best guess. Interesting, right?
Ooh,
So it just seems like this is a really pious family of sorts.
You got
maybe
my Hebrew weird stuff going. Yeah, I mean
Get your
Daniel,
spidey
right?
senses tingling.
My spidey sense is going off. I mean, in this case, right? Most people, when they think of the name Daniel, they're like, "Oh, God is my judge." But here we're talking about El, meaning that it is either like El's judge or El is my judge or
Mm.
something like that. And so his wife, um, Donatia, I'll have to look into that because there's probably some sort of Ugaritic to Hebraic sort of something that could give her name a more of a definition that I could probably try to find for you with
That would be pretty
the end
cool.
there. But Donatia, the lady attends. She prepares a lamb from the flock for the relish of Kotar and Cassis, for the hunger of clever Hayan. After Kotar and Cassis arrive, they hand Daniel the bow. On his lap, they lay the arrows. Now Donatia, the lady, dines and wines the gods, upholds and honors them, the lords of Memphis allotted by El. Kothar left for his tent, Hayan left for his dwelling. Now Daniel, man of Rapiu, the hero man of Harnemite. Oh, we've got some corrupted text. Bummer. Strings and bends the bow or pulls the bow. He draws near to Aquat. The best of your bag, my son. The best of your bag. Look, the bag in his temple. Oh, what a shame. We've got such corrupted
Yeah.
text.
So
You get the
what it
idea, though.
seemed,
I mean, something
yeah,
to
what
do
we
with the
get
arrow, right?
exactly. And it seems to be that Daniel is telling him like, hey, whatever you get, make sure you make an offering in the temple, which seems to be pretty common. You kill something, you got to make sure you're giving your piece to God and thanking them. So now it might come up later that maybe Aquat did not follow his father. He wasn't as pious as his father. Maybe, don't know. Again, text is broken, hard to say. And we'll find out why I think that could be a possibility later. Oh, okay. So I think basically he's telling him like, give this piece a cut, whatever, to the god. Yeah. So now we're to Anat. Do you want to start with she drinks the wine
Yeah.
by the flagons?
By the flagon. By the
My kind of
flagon.
girl.
The vine's blood from goblets of gold. Raising her eyes, she sees. She longs for the bow. Her eyes like a snake. On the earth, she empties her flagon. Her goblet she pours on the ground. She pours one out for the homies. Nice. She
Yes.
raises her voice and cries, "Attend now, caught the hero. Ask me for silver, I'll give it. For gold, and I'll endow you. Give Anat the girl your bow. The sisters of who's this?
I,
Lim?
I'm not I'm not sure. I
Hmm.
thought it was some kind of, I don't know. I really don't know. I
Cool.
have to discover that. I
So
know.
many
Sad.
characters. Yeah.
Yes.
Your
So
arrows.
why don't we
Yeah, go
pause
ahead.
there just for a second, because now we see Anat dumping out, like you said, pouring one out for the homies, but that might be like her as a curse, if there's any symbology there with, lifting a cup um to praise somebody and then bless them. Here she's pouring over her cup, and that could be some foreshadowing again to what's right around the corner, my friends, because doom looms right around the daggone corner. Okay, so she sees the bow from across the distance. It's like gleaming at her, and she's just longing for it because sister loves a weapon. She's a huntress, and specifically bows, that would probably be one of her weaknesses. So she sees that thing, she's like, "Hey, Akat, can you give me that thing? Whatever you want, I'll give it to you if you pass that on to me." And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's not going to happen." So why don't you read from Akat the hero answers?
Achat the hero answers, "From the Lebanon, the strongest trees. From the buffalo, the strongest sinews. From the ibex, the strongest horns. From the bull's heel, the strongest tendons. From the great brake, the strongest canes. Give to Kotar and Cassius, let them make a bow for Anat, arrows for the sister of Lim. Anat the girl answers, ask for life, Akat the hero. Ask for life and I'll give it. Deathlessness, I'll endow you.
Really?
Now, hi.
Really? I mean, if she could she do that? I don't know. Is Sister lying? Could be. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
No, it's your show. You tell me when you want to say something.
she's getting pretty frisky with that. Okay, go ahead. So she
So we are
says,
at, I'll let you count
yeah.
years with Baal, count months with the offspring of El. As Baal revives, then invites the revived to drink, trills and sings over him with pleasant tune they respond. So I'll revive Akat the hero. Then Akat the hero answers, maid, don't beguile me. To a hero your guile is slime. In the end, a man gets what? A man gets what as his fate? Boy, what is she going on about here? Glaze is poured on the head, lie all over the skull. The death of all, I shall die. I too shall die and be dead. And another thing I will say, bows are weapons of warriors. Will womankind now be hunting? And not laughed out loud, but inwardly she plotted. Love that line. That's rad.
Yes.
She's like, maybe we will.
Yeah,
Come
exactly.
back, Akat the hero. Come back to me, I will warn you. If I meet you in the paths of rebellion, find you in the paths of pride, I will fell you under my feet, finest, cleverest of fellows. She takes to her heels, and the earth shakes. Then she sets her face towards El at the springs of the rivers, among the streams of the deeps. She proceeds to the precinct of El, comes to the camp of the king, the father of years. Those are all titles for El,
Mm-hmm.
the father of years. I think we've seen that before, haven't we?
Yep, exactly.
At the feet of El, she bends and bows, prostrates herself, and pays him respect. She denounces Akat the hero, maligns the child of Daniel, man of Rapiu. Then Anat the girl speaks up. She raises her voice and
Uh-oh.
cries.
Actually,
Oh
we'll
no!
pause there while I borrow the
Let's
book
pause
again.
there.
Okay, so we just took in a lot there. First off, she sees something she wants. She asks for it. She offers whatever the guy wants, whatever a cot wants. She's willing to give to him, even life. Now, does she have that ability? I I don't think so. I think a cot is pretty smart in thinking like, you can't give that to me. We all die. And when he mentions the lie, excuse me, let me go to that. Oh, glaze is poured on the head, lie all
hmm
over the
Yeah, what's going on
skull.
there?
So let me share this tab instead and scroll down to the Natufian skull. So what they used to do is um after like a year, I think they bury the body after a year or so, whatever, after everything comes off, then they dig the body back up. They would um put shells and things of that nature into like the nose, into the eyes, and then they would paint it with some kind of glaze and decorate it beautifully to almost make it look like the person again, um as a way of
Cool.
remembrance, respect. Right, super duper cool that this mentions this ancient
Yeah.
tradition. Let's go back to this tab. I can push a button. Super duper cool part. Also, what else? What else? Oh, as Ball revives, then invites the revived to drink. Hello, what are you talking about? Now we know like Ball comes back in the Ball cycle. He comes back after a knot kills death. So a knot kills death in that cycle, which then allows Ball to um become revived. But it's interesting that Ball invites people, the revived people, to drink. Don't know, y'all. Again, I have a lot to learn myself, but one day I'm going to try to figure that out. Anywho, moving on, moving on. Okay, so I too shall die and be dead. Oh, and then homie, like, okay, fine. Like maybe Annette is being facetious and she's offering things that she obviously cannot fulfill, but you're now going to insult her and say, like, aren't bows weapons of warriors? Like, what would a woman want with that? Now that's just wrong. You're dumb. And then she pretty much told you, like, when I see you, it's on point. Like it's on site. You're done. You're done. He never should have left his house. He should have stayed
Right.
inside. He never should have went outside ever again because it was his ass. But he's a guy. He doesn't realize. He doesn't
That's right.
realize that like she's ready to get him. She even goes to her dad and is like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
And we only get part of what she says to him, sadly. But what she says is very threatening. And so I'll let you just read through the stuff that we can read.
Okay.
Sorry, I know. It's fun for you.
No,
Good
it's
luck.
cool.
I had to do it myself, so now you get to do it.
Oh, sweet. Oh man. Okay. Where do you want me to start with this mess here?
How about just I'll make your head run with blood. Start at
There you will.
11. Yeah, start
I'll
there.
make your head run with blood, you old gray beard with gore. Then cry to Aquat to rescue you, to Daniel's son to save you from the hand of Anat the girl. Then the kind one, El the compassionate, replies, "Oh yeah? Since
I'm sorry.
when?"
I just think that's so funny that she's like being like super belligerent, and then they call
Yeah.
him the kind and
He's
compassionate
like
because
the
he's
kind
like,
one. Since when?
I-
Give me a break.
maybe he has a sweet spot for Annette.
Hey,
Maybe.
you know,
What he
I know
says
you,
is really cool
daughter.
though.
As desperate among goddesses, no thing resists you. Go off, daughter. I love that. Go off, daughter.
Go off.
Art.
He snapped too when he said it.
Go off, queen. Lay hold of what's in your liver. Set up something in your breast. To resist you is to be beaten. Damn. And not the girl departs. Now she sets her face towards Akat the hero at 1,000 rods, 10,000 furlongs. That's some rad poetry right there. That is very
Right.
cool. I
And I
love
believe
that.
like I think liver to them was like their heart. I think that was what we now consider, our heart, like when we differentiate. I'll get back to you on that one time at some day, one day, one day.
One day.
One day I'll have an answer for you guys. Sorry. Oh,
No,
brother.
listen, you can drown in the sea of all this. I mean,
Oh, I
there's
do.
so
I get
much.
lost. I get lost
It's
in
so much.
holes. And I'm like, I only
Yeah.
got like one page down. Like, I gotta keep pushing on. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot. I don't blame you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all right. Okay. Where were we? Here we go. Okay. Go off, queen.
Go off,
Um,
queen. So, okay.
then
So he's,
Anat, the girl. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just, so he's basically saying, like, I know I can't, there's nothing I can
Yeah.
say to change your mind. And regardless of what I tell you, you're going to do what you want.
Yeah. Love that.
I do. I
He's
love
so
that. So
kind and merciful all of a sudden.
all of a sudden,
All
and
of a
so
sudden.
she turns on her heels and she's ready to start plotting and planning and
Yeah.
scheming what she's going to do. So some of this sadly is a little bit broken. So maybe we can skip through this. So she's laughing. I think she meets up with Yatapan, which is one of her bird-like warriors, because she herself is known to be winged and she actually flies with her warrior next to her in the next few scenes here. Yeah, so how about we'll start here. Not the girl now leaves. Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got like 10 minutes left, so hit me with
I think I think we're
are we gonna
almost
work it?
actually
Okay,
getting there too. Yeah, I think we're gonna
like get to
just
what you need to get
make
to.
it
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
And not the girl leaves. Now she sets her face towards. Ooh, who's this dude?
So that's Yatapan. That's how I say it,
Yatapan.
but yeah,
Okay.
that's his name.
Sudian warrior. All right. She raises her voice and cries, "Let Yatapan turn, the town of Aviluma, town of Prince Yarek." There's so many people. It's like uh what was that show where like you can't keep up with, there's too many characters.
Oh
Um
gosh.
anyway, um
It is
it's
like
like Game
that.
of Thrones, or like it's just like there's too many
Oh my God,
people.
yes.
Yeah.
Every damn scene, it's like a new
You know,
person.
it's
Can't keep
it's
up.
like Downton. It's like Downton Abbey. Like I couldn't
Oh,
keep track. There's too many characters.
Downton.
Couldn't keep track. How will Yarick not be renewed in his right horn? Everyone's got horns. In the waning his head, Yatapan the Sutian warrior replies, "Attend and not the girl. For his bow you strike him down. For his arrows take his life. The fine hero has laid a meal." And not the girl replies, "Turn here, Yatapan, and I'll teach you. Put you like a bird in my belt, like a hawk into my sheath." I love reading idiomatic expressions that I have no idea what they mean, but apparently bird in my belt was like, just like, yep, I know what that meant. We put birds in our belts. No worries.
Yeah, just like I put a
Um,
feather in my cap, a bird in
yeah,
my
right,
belt.
1,000 years later, we're like, what the heck is putting a bird in my belt? When Aquat sits down to sup, the son of Daniel to dine. The birds will circle above him. The flock of hawks will hover. A lot of bird imagery in this. Among the
Mhm.
birds, I will circle over a cot. I will aim you to strike him twice in the head, 3 times over the ear, spilling his blood like a butcher, down to his knees like a killer. Let his life go off like a breath, his soul like a sneeze. From his nose like smoke, I shall take his life. A badass. She takes
And
Yatapan, the Sutian warrior. Go ahead. Yeah.
and just quickly, here it is. It's Napshu, right at line 24 through 26. The last word there, NPSH.
Hmm.
Napshu, like a breath. So his soul like a breeze, from his nose like smoke. So again, we're seeing that imagery of some kind of soul. So she's taking his whole daggone life away. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Um, okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead, read through that one too.
All right. Okay. Puts him like a bird in her belt, like a hawk into her sheath. When a cot sits down to sup, the son of Dano to dine. The birds circle above him, the flock of hawks hovers. Among them, a knot circles over a cot. She aims him to strike him twice on the head, 3 times over the ear, spilling his blood like a butcher, down to his knees like a killer. His life went off like a breath, his soul like a sneeze from his nose, like smoke. Very cool. The poetry structure is, this is what will happen and this is what did happen. It's very sing-songy, like very cool. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so he died. Basically,
He
he
died.
died. And sadly, he they drop the weapon. So they kill him for this weapon. And then in the turmoil of it all, the weapon gets dropped into the waters. Like what the like that's a big bummer if you
Yeah. Big bummer.
um
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna because again, damage. So we're gonna scroll through some of that. Sorry, y'all, it's a little hard to
Yep.
understand with all the missing parts. Um, so that's the end of that scene. Now we go back to Daniel, and he's back doing his duties as, of course, he does because he's a pious man. He's sitting by the gate doing his helping of the widows and whatnot. And he realizes that stuff is going wrong in the fields. and his daughter Pagat. I don't know when she's born, probably on one of the missing tablets or broken off pieces. Maybe she was even actually the firstborn. And because they want a son, because, patriarchy, what have you,
Right.
that's why he wanted a son. So we're not sure. But the sister comes up to her dad, and they both are like realizing, and I'm skipping through some of this just to get us there. They're both realizing that the crops are starting to die. There's no rain. The sun is just beaming down, like with this horrible heat. Stuff's going wrong because the spilling of Akat's blood. And we do see similar ideas of once blood is spilled, the land is no more, you can't sow in the soil anymore. What was it? Cain, something about with Cain. And once he killed Abel, God said to him, like, you're not going to be able to pull anything from the earth anymore. You're cursed. It's bad.
Mhm.
Moving it along. So for 7 whole years, Baal is absent. There was no rain, no nothing. And it was a bad situation for everybody because that doesn't just affect Daniel, that affects his whole kingdom. And it also just makes him look like not good, because if the kingdom's suffering, like maybe he's not taking care of his duties, but we know he does take care of his duties. But maybe his son didn't. Maybe his son Aquat had caught something and didn't make offerings, and that's one of the reasons that he wasn't protected and died. Who knows? So Daniel's daughter Pugat is like, Dad, it's been 7 years. It's time that I go have my revenge for your son, for my brother. And Daniel's like, yeah, I like that idea. I want you to get revenge for my son's death. So she settles herself up. She gets to where she needs to go. What's the best part? The best part is she puts on the trappings of a knot. So she gets
Okay.
herself dressed up. She puts on a knot loves to, they usually mention a knot putting on the murex, the purple and the red on her face, like the kind of like war paint, if you will. And Pugat does a very similar thing. And I'm skipping through some of the really cool stuff. Unfortunately, Daniel has Baal. Daniel pulls these birds down from the sky to try to find his son's remains because he wants to bury his son. He buries his son in the Kennereth
Cool.
lake, in the Sea of Galilee. So he's opening up 3 different birds looking for his son's remains, finally finds them in one of the birds. And then he curses 3 cities near him because he's so upset. As you do, just like Noah did, he cursed Canaan. Now Daniel's cursing 3 freaking cities. It's kind of rude, Daniel. I thought you were a good guy. I understand you're upset. So they go through this whole bird motion. Then, come on, where is? Okay, may she slay the slayer of her sibling, who finished her brother in the sea. So here she washes herself. She rouses herself with the shellfish. She puts on a hero's outfit. So she's putting on warrior's clothes over top of her normal garb. So she's also dressing like a man would, something that we see Anat do, something that we see Ishtar, Inanna do. So Pagat is a ride or die. Like she's
Ride
going
or die.
hardcore. She's going hardcore for her brother. She gets to the encampment where Yatapan is by like the seat of her pants, because they mention Yorik, you have to get there before a certain time, which she does. She gets there. She finds Yatapan. He thinks that she is a maidservant, so he welcomes her in. Silly, silly, silly God. Sadly, the text breaks off, so we don't necessarily know exactly how it ends, but according to what a lot of um, books that I've read that will be in the description, they seem to think that she does indeed kill Yatapan, and that Aquat comes back because that mentioning of Baal reviving people, not only just because it seems to make sense that the fertility cycle that could be being mentioned here with the death of the crops and nothing returning, Baal not bringing down the rain, then eventually, if and when Akkad is revived, all the problems would now be gone. That's my story, and I am sticking to it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, y'all. I didn't realize how long this would take, but it's so interesting.
It really
Quickly.
is.
It really, really is. Okay, so quickly, I just wanted to read through these. Even if Daniel is not the Daniel that Ezekiel mentions in these scriptures, where he writes, let's just read this one. He says, "You are indeed wiser than Daniel. No secret is hidden from you." Now, I think he's being facetious. I think he's being a little funny here to the king of Tyre because he doesn't like him. But he's mentioning this wise man named Daniel in chapter 14. He mentions Daniel, Job, Noah, men who are able to some extent save some of their family members.
Hmm.
And Ezekiel's proclaiming that that's nobody's going to be able to do that. You alone is who will be able to save yourself by your good deeds. Follow what you're supposed to follow my lead is basically what Ezekiel's saying. You got to do what I say. So is it possible that Ezekiel is discussing the book of Daniel in the Bible? And I say the answer to that would be no, because that book comes later. But if Daniel is simply an idea of a pious man who that traditional idea gets passed down, then maybe that's the memory that's being recalled there in Ezekiel's Daniel. But
Fascinating.
right? It's an interesting question. Is this a guy who was just so freaking cool that, he was just remembered for all this time? Or just an idea that's been passed along? I don't know.
I mean, listen, you could. I'm sure there are people at Hebrew University who either have or are, trying to figure this out. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea that the yes, Daniel is a later book than Ezekiel, but the idea that Ezekiel draws on the cultural understanding of that character um, from the author's understanding of Ugaritic texts or even Israelite legends that we've lost or something like that didn't get written down. All that is so much fun to sort of dive into the what ifs because there's huge possibilities of were they drawing from an ancient Near Eastern legend that we've lost? Were they drawing from the Ugaritic aspect? Was that the motif to that eventually led to the canonization and writing the new uh, Daniel legend that was canonized into the Israelite Tanakh? Um, Fun stuff,
So
really
many
cool stuff.
questions that you can, and again, rabbit holes that,
Rabbit holes,
it's
weird rabbit
really,
holes. You never think you do, but they're there.
nope,
I love that. I love
nope.
that.
But, so again, I guess just to maybe make it come full circle of, um, there was a time of Rephaim not being these horrible giants who wreaked havoc on the earth. And even in some of the verses that I put up with the diagram of the earth, like in Psalm, in Isaiah,
Mhm.
in Job, there's no mention of them being, huge dudes of stature. It's just that they
They're
were
just there. Yeah.
yeah, they were memorable characters that eventually needed to their memory needed to be erased for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and there you have it. Um, Sorry if you guys had questions. I didn't look one daggum second in the chat
Everyone's
because
just enjoying it.
okay,
Everyone
good.
was just listening and enjoying it. So, I mean, it's to read, ancient Near Eastern poetry, New Ugaritic poetry. There's just so much to just sort of take in. Not a lot of people are exposed to it. So, like,
Mm-mm.
I just was taking it all in, and if there's something that I recognize, I was like, oh, awesome, whatever it is. I assume other people were doing the same. But my hope is that on another session, you can sort of bridge it to Israelite Tanakh in certain ways, and try to like get them to do a connection, because I don't think you had the time to do that tonight. But
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would really be
yeah, it
cool.
definitely should be a two-parter. Like, read the poem, see how awesome it is, and then like your next session, like, do some connection stuff. Like, hook us up.
Okay. Connection, hookups, stuff I'm
I mean,
really
I'm
good
not going to
with.
put you to work. You don't have to do it. I just think it
No,
would be
no, no.
cool. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, and that is what is a driving force to show the interconnectivity of these texts, these ideas.
Yeah.
And there was a few things that I didn't really get to touch on. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go back through.
Do it. Yeah, let's do
But
a part 2 on this, because it's super awesome stuff, and you do a lot of work for it. So I want to see the fruits of your labor.
yeah, sorry I had to rush through, you guys. I was like, oh,
No,
oh
it's
snap.
all
I
right.
guess I really gotta get I have to rush
No,
through
it's
some of
all
this.
right. It's great
And
that we got to
how
read it.
Yeah, if you have any questions, of course, let me know. I'll put the information in the description. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Please don't forget to make sure you like and subscribe and share. And oh, good. I'm glad there's some new information. Got you buzzing. That's exactly what I want you to buzz for me, baby. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Pragmatic Crystal. Thank you, Jay. Fixing My Faith. Jonathan, everybody else, we appreciate you being here. Next week, we're going to be here next week, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Next week,
we'll be here next week.
this gentleman here is going to have the steering wheel in his hands. He's going to be boop boop boop
I'll
driving the
bring something
bus.
red. I'll
Yeah,
bring something red.
I'll
Same
be a
bad time,
backseat
same bad
driver.
channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Have a great night. We love you. Bye.